really want to thank all of you for being here today. This webinar is not required to apply for the grant, but we did make some changes this year, and always happy to be able to kind of go through the application and make sure everything is clear. Our goal, as always, is to always make things simpler and easier and more straightforward and clear. We hope we've achieved that with some of the changes to the application this year, but want to reemphasize or emphasize that we haven't really changed the application in terms of the eligibility is the same, the what you can apply for is the same, the amount of money is the same. We just tried to clean some things up and especially make sure that everything was clear so that there weren't any issues with information not being provided just because we were unclear in our questions. So Carrie Parker has managed this for a number of years. She does a great job with it. And I'm going to hand off to her to kind of go through the application and the process. And we're here to answer any questions and just make sure everybody's ready to apply for these funds.
Great, thank you, Robert. Today is the Capital Investment Grant Technical Assistance Training for our state fiscal year 2027 grant cycle. All right, so this training will provide updates and changes to the state fiscal year 27 capital investment grant guidance. You'll hear us reference it as SIG. Where we will review the intent to apply form, the application, the required forms and documentation, and the scoring rubric. To be eligible, excuse me, to be eligible to apply for state fiscal year 27 SIG funding, you must be a current state fiscal year 27 Kansas Department of Health and Environment community-based primary care clinic grantee to apply for this funding. Projects must align with a legislative goal to expand the capacity of the safety net to provide quality healthcare services to underserved Kansans. Reminder that SIG funding is not designed to support the entirety of a major capital infrastructure project. It is intended to augment other capital funding resources. Successful SIG projects will increase the ability of clinics to open a school-based health clinic, increase physical capacity of existing clinics, increase the ability of clinics to open a satellite clinic or a new site in communities with high need or little or no access to care, to improve the quality of care provided at the clinics, increase the ability of the clinics to upgrade or implement HIT, increase the ability of the clinic to acquire a mobile unit to provide comprehensive quality health services for a larger number of underserved people. They can also be used for renovation and or expansion, new construction from the ground up, and then equipment and subscriptions, including mobile clinics, health IT, telehealth subscriptions, or equipment. Funding this year, applicants may request funding between $10,000 and $100,000. There's $1,050,000 available in SIG funding. This year, we, instead of the 50 cent to $1 match, we sought to kind of clarify that with the 1 to 2 match. So for every $2 in SIG funding requested, you must have a minimum of $1 in matching funds. Up to 50% of the cash match can be fulfilled through an in-kind non-monetary contribution. All funds must be expended or encumbered by June 15th of 2027. If all SIG and matching funds are not fully expended by then, they must be returned to community care. Community care will work closely with grantees throughout the grant period to help ensure that all funding is expended by the deadline. We really do not want you to have to return those funds back to us. This year we have changed the funding disbursement just a bit. Grant funds will be dispersed in 3 installments this year. Upon an organization being awarded SIG funding, an initial disbursement of 50% of the SIG award will be released upon receipt of a signed memorandum of agreement. The second disbursement will be released upon submission of the second grant reports and approval. If less than 50% of that initial disbursement of SIG funds has not been expended, we will not release a second disbursement until that has happened. The final disbursement will be released upon submission and approval of the final grant report. In addition to disbursement changes, we have added an additional reporting requirement. All online reports must be submitted by the established due dates. Once your project is complete, you may submit a final report to officially close out the project. Each report will consist of the financial expenditure form, listing the funds expended for the quarter, a brief narrative detailing the progress of the project, and copies of invoice paid using SIG and matching funds. That first report is due December 31st. Here are the relevant dates. I wanted to highlight two important deadlines. The first one is the intent to apply form is due by 11:59 on September 8th, with the full application being due by 11:59 on September 30th. If you think your organization is going to apply for SIG funding, please go ahead and submit the intent to apply. Submitting the notice does not obligate you to apply. If you decide later to submit an application, please let us know, just so we can update our records and we're not bothering you. You can locate the links to the forms and the attachments on the CCNK website, and we'll drop that link into the chat. Your online application may include up to 7 attachments, so please have all of the required documents prepared before you begin. The application must be completed and submitted in one sitting, as you cannot save your progress and return later. After submitting your application, if you discover that information was omitted or an attachment was not included, please email me so I can send you an update request. To avoid creating duplicate records, please do not submit a new application. Instead, we will work with you to update your existing application. So your application will consist of the online portion, the project narrative, your line item budget narrative, your bids and estimates, certification and matching funds, attachment E if you have in-kind matching contributions, and then attachment F, which is our project work plan. The online application gathers your organizational information, the project type, the amount of SIG and matching funds requested. Please round the numbers to the nearest dollar and only enter whole numbers. Lastly, you will enter the anticipated completion date for the project. That is when you expect all SIG and matching funds will be expended and must be prior to June 15th of 2027. For those of you that have applied in previous years, you will notice that this year there is not an executive summary required. In an effort to reduce that duplicative information, that information is now part of the project narrative. The project narrative includes that overview of your organization, the proposed capital project, explanation for the need of the project, how this project aligns with legislative goals, any potential challenges that may come up, and how you will mitigate those, how the project aligns with the organization's strategic plan or needs assessment, what counties will benefit from the project, the number of patients to be served, and how you arrived at that number, an overview of the project timeline from start to completion, listing significant activities, and then answering the questions specific to the type of project selected on the online application. I'm going to pause here for a moment and see if there are any questions. All right, I'm going to...
Sorry.
Yes, Paul.
Can we combine a couple of different projects to come up with like the maximum allowable that may not be related to each other?
You can. So the thing, and I've had this mentioned already, make sure that you have a overarching argument for how all of the different components serve patients, improve quality, or increase your capacity to serve patients. But it can be different things as long as it has the same overarching outcome. Does that make sense?
So there's a possibility that if I do that, that one of those projects may be denied, but the other one would be accepted?
As long
Or
as they're,
is it,
no, as long as they're eligible projects and you've made a strong argument how this, all the everything together allows you to better serve patients. It does, it'll be the only time a application would be partially approved is if you're the lowest scoring applicant for which money is available, right? If we get to the end and there's only 10,000 left and you asked for 20,000, we're going to ask you, could you make do with 10 because you were at the cutoff point? But
got it?
otherwise, no, you're scored across the entirety of your application. Just make sure you're doing a great job of explaining how everything together best serves patients.
All right, thanks.
Yes, and you have your hand up.
Yes, hi. I have a question with regards to like a construction project. So if I read the information correctly, it is okay to submit an estimate with the application. But in terms of expectations of a formal bidding process to be completed before the application is submitted, is that required or no?
We don't require bids. You just have to have
Okay.
an official estimate from whoever would do the work, but you don't have to bid this out.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Great questions. Any other questions before we move on? All right. So the next thing we're going to talk about is the attachment A, which is your line item budget. This should reflect the full cost of the planned project. Again, make sure you're I can't even speak. I'm so sorry. Make sure you're rounding all your numbers to the nearest dollar and eliminating all cents from your budget items. We will not be writing checks for anything that, if it comes up to 90,029 cents, we would round that down to to 91,000. So, as mentioned earlier, we have tried to simplify the matching funds requirement language. So again, you must have a minimum of $1 match for every $2 in SIG funds. Up to 50% of that cash match may be fulfilled through in-kind, non-monetary contributions. Remember, your cash match funds must be received and available for use at the time of the application being submitted. Funds expected to be received at a later date do not qualify as a cash match. The form is an Excel document, so additional rows can be added as needed to accommodate your budget. If you have more contractual things you need to add or equipment or supplies, just add those lines as you need, making sure you're putting the amount that you need for SIG to cover the item versus matching funds. Also remember that the contractor fees or any contractual items should be itemized and clearly describe what those funds will be used for. Please avoid using a lump sum amount. Instead of saying, hey, we're paying X contractor $100,000, what are you paying him for? Is it for the diagrams? Is it for putting in drywall? Things of that sort. Okay. Attachment B is the budget narrative, and it is a written, detailed explanation of the line item budget. Those full instructions begin on page 7 of the grant guidance. In the budget narrative for each category funds will be utilized, you will provide a clear and concise explanation of the need for each expense. Attachment C is your supporting documents for the line item budget. Equipment and other items valued at more than $10,000 will need like a bid or an estimate. Attachment D is your certification of matching funds. Attachment E is your certification of in-kind contributions, and then attachment F is the project timeline. Your certification of matching funds, you'll need to complete and sign the form and include the required documentation. This can be a bank statement, lines of credit, or anything of that sort. Attachment E, you only need to submit attachment E if you're going to be utilizing in-kind contributions to satisfy a portion of the match requirement. Applicants not claiming in-kind contributions as part of their cash match are not required to complete this attachment. The project timeline has been updated, and so it looks way different than it did last year. Thanks to Robert, I feel like it's going to be much easier to be completed. To ensure the precise financial tracking and accurate forecasting for community care, the work plan timeline with cost must align with your project narrative, your line item budget, and the budget narrative. This work plan is split into the 3 quarters. Enter as many lines as you need for each quarter. If the cost is funded with SIG dollars, the SIG dollar amounts must be recorded in the quarter it is planned. Same with the matching funds.
And I would note that you don't have to have your match keep up with your spend. So
Right.
if you get all your match up front, you can put it in that quarter and then, not have to. So don't worry that each of the quarters match up. As long as it matches up in the end, you're fine.
Great point. Thank you. This year, we are providing you with the scoring rubric. We want you to see what the reviewers are looking for, and we're hoping that will help you as you're writing your application. There are a total of 100 points available for each application. The narrative overview is worth 30 points. The project type is worth 30 points. The budget is worth 25, and then the project work plan is worth 15. Next steps, if you plan to submit a SIG application, you must submit the online intent to apply form by 11:59 on September 8th. Again, the application is due by 11:59 on September 30th. Grant applications will be reviewed by outside reviewers, and grantees will be notified on October 15th. After grantees are notified, they will receive a memorandum of agreement. Upon receipt of the signed MOA, we will release the first disbursement of the funds. The SIG post-award technical assistance training is December 2nd at 1 o'clock, with the first quarterly report being due on December 31st. If you have any questions, feel free to unmute your line or type your question into the chat.
Hi there. I have a quick question. Regarding the use of funds, can it be used for purchase of a brick and mortar building if for expansion of services? Is that an eligible use of these funds?
Absolutely.
Perfect. Thank you.
And you
You're
would
very
put that
welcome.
as an expansion or construction project. I know
Mhm.
that's weird, but you're expanding, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, it would just be if we needed to purchase an additional space that is already in existence
that's
versus a
totally
net
fine.
new build.
I was just telling you the category you'd be in is that construction expansion.
Perfect. Thank you.
If you are using other grant award for meeting the match, do you need NOA or letter from the grantor to document the receipt of the funds? Yes, some of those grants do not allow you to match for other grants. Robert, do you have more insight on that?
So yeah, that's between you and your grantor. If you send it to us, unless it clearly says this can't be used match, we're going to assume you can use it as match. The one thing to always remember is the community-based primary care clinic funds, which aren't for construction anyway, but they cannot be used as match.
Yeah, any state funds are not
And Rick
eligible.
Hernandez, yes, they can be used for telemedicine equipment. We'd love to see some of that.
Absolutely.
And
Other
people
questions?
may not recognize, so you can even do a subscription for a telehealth
Oh,
service, but it can only be for this year, right? You can do a 1 year subscription.
mhm.
So you could buy the equipment and you could even contract for the service. You can buy subscriptions to software. All of those are allowed expenses, but just know with things like that that are kind of renewable, we would want to see how you're going to sustain that after the period of funding that pays for it.
We have allowed folks in the past to use like year 2 and 3 subscriptions as part of their match. So I think we would still be able to do that. Individual donations if using individual donations as a match, must we provide names of donors and assuming dates, received donation amount? Yes, you would need to provide that information to us. It is confidential, so we will not reach out to them. Nobody will be reaching out to them. Paul, did you have a question?
If we're using a subscription situation, then it would have to be something that we spend within the grant period. But I mean, if we had a 3-year subscription, as long as the funds would cover it through the 15th of June, it would be eligible. Nothing after that, obviously. But that would still qualify, it sounds like.
Yeah, and so
Yes,
you
so
buy
yeah.
the subscription on October 1st, though.
Mhm.
Like,
Come again?
if you buy it, like, so the rule is 1 year. So if you purchase it on 1 year and it goes to October 1st of 27, as long as you've paid for that 1 year during the grant year, it's October 2nd of 2027 that has to be out of your own pocket
Mhm.
or someone else's pocket besides this grant.
Right,
So you can
right, okay.
purchase 1 year of a subscription. The subscription doesn't have to end June 15th.
Got it, okay.
If you use the fund,
Oh.
yes, sorry. Go ahead, Brenda.
I it seems like I read somewhere and I'm not finding it now, but can the matching funds, the matching expenditures or matching funds be prior to the new grant award? It seems like I read somewhere that
Mhm.
went back to like July 1st.
Correct.
Okay.
And we change, I mean, so basically, as long as it's cash on hand, you can't use, you could use, like, if the activity that you're using as match, like say somebody gave you $10,000 and you started construction, it's the services that are paid for out of this fund, out of the CIG grant, that have to happen after you're awarded the money.
Mhm.
So it can go back to July 1st for, the project, and even use money since July 1st that you've spent as your match.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I was verifying.
Yeah.
Thank
So
you.
you don't have to spend your match. You just can't pay for anything that's happened out of the SIG funds that has
Correct.
happened before you receive the money. Before we
Correct,
give
yeah.
you your award.
Great.
match can't.
Thank you.
Amanda Vaughn has put a question. If you use the funds to furnish and equip a new pediatric clinic, can match be the new staff physician salary to open the clinic? No. It cannot be. We took that out of several years ago of allowing cash or matching of salaries. Other questions? These are some really great questions.
If you're struggling with something like that, like Amanda just raised, contact Carrie, or even you're welcome to contact me, and we can talk through like what would work as a match related to that. So we'll help problem solve. We don't review the applications, so we can certainly help problem solve. And I see there's one from Teresa.
Yeah, absolutely, Teresa. You can apply for a project that was not funded previously and is still needing to be completed. I did put up my contact information, my email, my direct line. Happy to talk with y'all via phone, email, Teams, however we can meet to answer questions.
Amanda, one of the things I think about is the supplies and other things you're gonna need for that clinic that might be your match. There's gonna be some expenses besides those salaries that would be allowed as your match, so let's talk about that.
Yeah, absolutely. Brent, do you have a question?
I do. Is there a number of the eligible applicants? So, if you kind of do the math and, if there's a total amount with all the applicants, does the math add up? So even the other side of it is, if you can only receive 50,000 tops, you can kind of, see if there's enough in there. And I'm wondering, like, say there's not enough applicants and there's money left over. Has that ever happened? Could people, what if you don't spend all the money? I didn't know what the compliance was around that, or if there could be rollover funds, or what if not everybody applies? Just kind of curious around the compliance around that, or regular.
So the funds are actually dispersed according to the scores that each application receives, and will go down to a certain amount until the funds run out. We have not. There may have been one year, many years ago, where we had to do a round two for SIG funds. But normally we have more applicants requesting more money than what is available.
Okay.
So we intend to fully fund each application if we can. We would love to fund everyone's application, but we are limited on those funds.
Okay. Thank you.
Absolutely.
So there are 32 eligible organizations
Okay.
because there are 32 CVPCC funded organizations.
Okay. Yeah, because you said 1,050,000, right? That's the award.
Yeah.
So 21 at
If everybody
50,000.
asks for 100,000, the first 10, basically 10 and a half would get funded.
Okay.
Last year, we had 19 applicants and we were able to fund 15 of them.
Okay.
If leasing a space for a new pediatric clinic, can the lease payment be matched? Yes, it can be. That can be for the 1 year, correct, Robert? It has to be just for the year.
Yeah.
Or no, if it's a match, then yeah.
Yeah, it'd have to be July 1 to June 30th.
Okay. Other questions?
I have another one. Is the applications once submitted, is it a first come, first serve? Or is all of them received by the deadline and then reviewed by the outside reviewers?
They're reviewed and scored, and we just go down from 100 down to whatever we can fund out of the application. So
Okay.
last year, I don't remember what the score was that was the cutoff, but unfortunately, there's been a reduction in this funding, and that makes it, unfortunately, there's not as much available as there used to be, and that impacts how many awards we can make.
Thank you.
Other questions? And we will include these questions in the follow-up email, just to make sure that we got these captured. So
I have had the question, I just want to make sure I was clear to everyone that the amount you request does not impact your score. So
Right.
if you ask for 20,000, like if that 20,000 scores higher than 100,000, then it'll be funded. If it meets the cutoff. But if you ask for 100,000, if you score higher than the 20,000 and it meets the cutoff, you'll get, so the reviewers do not take into account how much you asked for.
Great clarification. Well, if there are no more questions, or do we have some more coming in? I don't see anything in the chat. But please reach out to me anytime. I am here to help you guys. I'm here to talk through the projects with you, and to figure out if a project is eligible or not, what match could be eligible or not. So we're excited for this round and to see whatever these projects are going to be you're applying for. And we wish you all the best of luck on your projects and your applications.
One thing that's different this year, just as a final note, in previous years after the due date, if you had something incomplete and you wanted to update your application, we would allow that. But if you get your application done, get it turned in, because we're gonna, so that we can get this out to reviewers, because we're doing a very fast turnaround. If it's incomplete after the 30th, then we're not going to be able to review that application. So please feel free to get them in earlier. You can even check with Carrie to make sure everything's correct. But we just won't have the time to correct applications, because we're going to have to we want to get this back to you, because we know it was delayed with the contracts out of KDHE that all of you saw with your CVPCC funding, right? There's some issues that the legislature caused, but we know that means then that this is getting out late, and we really want to get it to you so you have enough time to complete your projects.
Okay, well, I think if we're done, any other closing comments, Robert or Christy?
No, thank you, Carrie, for sharing about this application, and we will send out a follow-up email that has the recording, the slides, and any of the links that we have shared. So watch for that in the next couple of days. Thanks, everybody, for joining us, and have a great rest of your day.